This is the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Let's go nuts! It's Jimmy Nuts! Right out of the door!
With your hosts, Mark Martinez.
Remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things.
And the English Professor.
It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke, the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
And welcome back to another edition of Can Crushers Spotlight. And if you're just joining us, hello. Welcome to Can Crushers Spotlight. I am your host, Mark Martinez, and holy moly, this may be the youngest guest we've ever had on our show. Barring my son, but he's not a guest. He's a regular every once in a while. All right, shut up, Mark. Coming on the show is the professional, Braden Elliott. Braden is part of Imagine Wrestling based out of Altoona, Pennsylvania. This coming Saturday, he will be in the tag team championship hunt. They're having a tournament to crown champion. We can get that. We can get to that when we talk to Braden. Guys, this guy has been taking wrestling by storm. He really is. 18 years old and just running roughhouse over Imagine Wrestling. We saw him a couple times. We just met up and we said, hey, we got to have you on the show, and this is what happens, da-da-da-da-da. And he does one hell of an elbow off the top rope. I can't wait to talk to him about that. But we're going to hear about people that have trained him. We're going to, because I know the list. I have it in front of me. It's unbelievable. Hear about why, just all the questions that we always have. And we're going to find out what really is going to go on with Braden. 18, guys. 18. We're going to continue to follow Braden as much as we can, as long as we can, before he hits to the bigger platform and I have to get releases and this and that. But this guy is phenomenal. But you'll hear about him in a minute. Coming up, our normal collar and elbow spot. Yeah, we have to hear from Al Snow. Guys, collarandelbow.com. Hats, hoodies, tees, all the cool designs. The shirts are comfortable. And all you have to do is type in Can Crushers when you go to checkout and you get 10% off your order. All one word, Can Crushers. Capital C in Can, capital C in Crushers, and then you get 10% off. Coming up is Al Snow, and then we'll be back with Braden Elliott, the professional, to talk about Imagine in his life in wrestling.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
This is the professional Braden Elliott, and you are listening to Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. That's a shoot. Get the body bag.
And welcome back to Can Crushers, guys. I told you in the beginning of the show, I'm super excited to have Braden Elliott come on the show. Man, this guy has been taking Imagine Wrestling by the horns, I guess. He's got a tag team match, and we'll get into all that, Mark. Settle down, settle down. Braden, welcome to Can Crushers. You're phenomenal.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad to be here.
How you doing tonight? Before we get into wrestling, how's everything going? You know, you haven't been in the ring, what now, 3-4 months? How's all this going with you and the COVID?
I mean, everything's fine here. No one's really been affected where I'm from. There's not too many cases or anything. The biggest thing is just wrestling, and I mean, we can't have any of it, and I'm ready to get back to it.
So you are a little anxious to get back to it. That's awesome. What have you been doing, though, during this 3-4 months? I know, the Imagine Dojo's open for you guys, but it's still not the same in front of the crowd and everything, right?
Right. We still go and we still train, and we strive to get better every week, but, it's just not the same with that crowd there. We can go to the gym, we can go to the dojo, but there's nothing like being in front of a crowd.
And that Imagine crowd in Altoona is unbelievable. We'll pump that. I'll kind of shift gears a minute here. We've been down there 3 or 4 times, and, man, they are hot every month. I love that crowd.
Oh, my God. It's phenomenal, that crowd. I love it. I get goosebumps just standing behind the curtain every time.
Yeah. Besides wrestling and training and everything, what can you tell me that you're excited that you've done in the last 2 months? Throw wrestling out. Did you buy a new PlayStation game or something? What exciting have you done?
Well, there's not too much exciting because, I can't really do a whole lot at the moment. I've just been working out a lot. I'm still training a lot. Besides that, I'm just striving, just to be better. I've gotten, the works of making new gear and everything. Got new merch made. Everything's pretty much wrestling related.
And that's the way it should be. That really, if you're in, you should be all the way in, right?
Right. Absolutely.
All right, let's do the rewind. As you're a youngster, so the rewind's not that far. But who introduced you to wrestling? Was it a mom, a dad, grandpa, Uncle Joe? How did you find this crazy business?
It was my dad. When I was probably about 3 or 4 years old, he has been a lifelong wrestling fan. And he, was watching on TV, and I started watching it with him. And then next thing I know, I was just caught up in it, and it was my favorite thing ever since. I just sat and amazed over it, and it's been pretty much my whole life.
What was, we'll get to your favorites in a second, but what was kind of your first memory? If you can remember back to 3, good Lord, good for you. But what was your first memory of a match, maybe?
The very first thing that I remember, I don't remember a whole lot, but I remember Randy Orton. That was something I remember a little bit, and then what brought me into it and what caught my eye was probably The Undertaker.
Of course, The Undertaker has been around for 30 years. He caught my eye. In fact, he's been one of the legends. Now you mentioned both Randy Orton and The Undertaker. What other favorites do you have out there? And then I'll make it my comparison to see how bad I am on pegging you. So go ahead.
Probably my favorite of all time has got to be The Undertaker. After that, I like the guys like Chris Benoit, Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, the great grapplers, and the guys who can do pretty much any style in the ring. I try to watch their matches and pretty much replicate them. Because, that's the style I want to do. It's, they've just always been my favorites. It's who, touched me in a certain way and really brought me into it over time.
My comparison, and then we'll get to some other stuff. My comparison, you actually mentioned one of them, actually 2 of them. When I see you in the ring, I see a Randy Orton. You've heard me say phenomenal a couple times, so AJ Styles. But I also throw you in there as a Rey Mysterio because you're so damn quick. You can fly around that ring. Not saying that AJ is not anymore. He used to be faster in the day, but you sleek like Randy Orton, though. When you want to hit something, boom, you hit it. So that's my comparison. Am I on or am I way off?
Well, I've actually watched a lot of tape of Randy Orton. and I kind of model a little bit of wrestling after him. So it's funny you said that. I've watched a lot just to try and pick up little things, and I mean, you really touched on it. That was like you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, sometimes I can get right. Sometimes I'm right. What was your deciding factor? We all love the business. You know, I like this aspect. You like being in the ring, getting out of school and everything. What made you say, "Damn it, I'm going with this. I'm gonna bust my ass and I'm gonna get on Imagine and then go from there"?
Well, when I had turned 15, my dad had said, "Hey, I mean, you've told me your whole life you want to be a professional wrestler." And I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, I just got information on a wrestling school, and I want to take you down there." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So we hopped in the car, and we went to this wrestling school, and I mean, that's where I got my first start. That's where I started training, learned, all the basics and everything. And then for probably about a year and a half, I trained up to a certain point, and I was just like, I left training that first day and left training every day after that with the same thought in my head, like, well, this is awesome. Like, this is what I wanted to do my whole life. I found it. Let's just run with it. And then probably like the first day the Imagine Dojo opened up, I came to this school and started training here because with my dad, he's one of the owners, and I just ran with it from there. I've started getting better because the training I had, I just learned the basics and everything, but I wasn't that good. But Kato has really taken me and molded me into what I'd say a good wrestler. I mean, a lot of other people say that I'm pretty good. I don't want to.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, well, thank you. I don't want to be too cocky here. But.
You need to gloat, man. You need to gloat. The locker room, I'll speak for the locker room, and if they hate me by the end of this, that's fine. The locker room knows. The fans know. People seeing you on the internet, you're being nice and being humble, but, man, you got to gloat a little bit. You're pretty damn good.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, from there, that was probably sophomore year of high school that I started training at the Imagine Dojo. And then I kept training for the past 3 years now, just to try to be the best. And, going through school, I always told people like, yeah, I'm going to be a professional wrestler. And they were like, oh, that's weird. But I mean, I stuck to myself. I did it, stuck to my goals. And now when I turned 18 this past January, I had my first match. I went for it, and I couldn't have been happier with how it turned out.
Yeah, you killed it. You killed it. We were at that event. You talked about Kato being your trainer and your prior trainer. I actually didn't know about your prior trainer. Do you want to say who it is or no or whatever? It's fine. But on that same aspect, real quick, Kato is known around Pennsylvania. He's got a who's list. So you're in the right category there.
Yeah, I started training with Kato, and I had that transition. I had to go from one school to the next, and a lot of people had said, "Well, hell, you're in the right place, and there's no better place for you to be than with Kato." And I've certainly seen that, and I have watched guys from all over the independents, from all over Pennsylvania, and surrounding states. Nobody has been as good as the guys that Kato has turned out. I will firmly stand by that.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I will say yes to that. I know some of them personally. wonderful human beings, and some of them are trainers now in their own aspect, teaching, Cato's same mannerisms and techniques and everything other places. So Cato's in good health and everything, everybody. Don't, I'm going to say this wrong. His legacy is going to continue for a hell of a long time. I mean, you being the young buck at only 18, damn, you're the one that's going to be carrying the torch now.
Oh, absolutely. I plan on doing that for as long as I can. I'll carry his torch far, far into the future.
Yeah, I agree with that. You've also have some other notable legends kind of come through the locker room for Imagine. Well, I'll name them off one by one and see, did you get to talk to them? Did you get to, get any advice from them or anything? And we'll start with the Raging Bull, Manny Fernandez. He was actually on the show with us, and he's an amazing human being. He's awesome. How much did you get to spend time with him?
Believe it or not, I spent a lot of time with Manny Fernandez. Before he got to the Imagine Dojo, he's a family friend. So, he's kind of like an uncle almost.
Nice.
I spent a lot of time with him. I went down to shows in West Virginia. I trained with Manny before. Just had, some practices with him. Just me and one other guy. Had some alone time with him. I got to pick his brain a lot. I went to WrestleMania Access with Manny. We had such a good time every time we were together. And that was countless times. I can't tell you how much information I've got from Manny Fernandez.
Yeah, when he was on the show, it was him and Animal from the Legion of Doom, and I forget who else, but they were driving to a show, so you just heard the three guys in the car just we would ask Manny a question, and then he would kind of ask the car, and it was just, oh my God, he's I don't know him as good as you do. I'll put it there, but the time that I got to spend with him, he's great. He a kind-hearted human being, and what he's done for the business itself is awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
Moving along, you had Bob Backlund come into Imagine, one of the greatest heavyweight champions ever. How much time did you get with him?
Bob Backlund, before he came to Imagine, also he's a friend of my father, so I got to talk with him a little bit when he came to my house for my brother's birthday party. I picked his brain a ton that day. I spent a little bit of time with him that day. And then when he came into the Imagine Dojo, or the Imagine show, I'm sorry, the Volume 1, he came that day, and I picked his brain a little bit more. And I haven't seen him since then, but he still keeps in touch with my family. So, yeah.
I have three more, all of them big. You've brought up one already in our prior talk, but Bobby Fulton. I haven't seen this guy in forever, and then when he shows up at Imagine, he looks, sorry the pun, fantastic. He looks just as great as he did, in the 80s, and then, he just battling his illness, coming back strong now, so praise to Bobby.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't talk to Bobby a whole lot. I picked his brain for a few minutes when he came to Imagine, but he was a very nice guy and was willing to talk and give you all the information that you wanted to hear.
One of my favorites of all time, Shane Douglas. He's been on the card a couple times. Well, he was scheduled to be on the card a couple times until this whole COVID damn thing hit. But Shane Douglas.
Shane Douglas, I had met him a few times before he came into Imagine, and just like with the other guys, picked his brain, and he was so helpful to give me every piece of information. He came to my house. I sat and talked to him. He told stories just about his career and everything. I picked his brain for hours on end. And then he came to the show. He knew who I was and everything. He still remembered me. We talked a little bit more there. And then we had a few seminars with him at the Imagine Dojo, and he's just so helpful. He's helped us develop a little bit of a different twist on our style than what we were used to, but it's definitely helpful. And it's definitely something that we're taking into consideration for everyone there to try and get to the big leagues.
A little bit more extreme? Is that the question I'm asking you?
No, actually.
Oh, okay. Damn it.
I was very surprised. It was not extreme at all.
Well, he's got a hell of a trainer himself, and Dominic DiNucci, who showed up at the show with Shane. You talk about old school. Dominic is old school.
Oh, my God, yeah. Dominic, just like Shane and just like the other guys, he's such a nice guy. He'll sit and talk your ear off for hours.
Literally. There was a line behind me when I went to see Shane and Dominic. Shane, busy, he's got a line, he understands, hey, meet and greet, cool, give high fives, give everybody their moment. Dominic gives you his life.
Yeah.
He gives you his life, and he'll tell you.
He gives life stories, like, anytime you talk to him. And it was to the point where, like, I had to go to the bathroom for, like, 15 minutes while I'm sitting there talking to him. And I just had to, like, hey, I really got to go to the bathroom, man. Like, I appreciate you talking to me, and, like, I don't mean to be rude to a legend, but...
Right? I got to go, though.
Talk forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then off air, you brought up that you got to hang out with Dr. Tom recently, and a genius in the wrestling business.
Oh, he was such a nice guy. He had by far the most tips from anyone that I've ever talked to about wrestling. Out of all the legends, I should say. He was in for 2 days, and for those 2 days, I picked his brain for so much information, and he was willing to put it all out there for me. He reviewed one of my matches for me. He gave me tips on promos, just, pretty much everything. He was such a nice guy, and he was willing to help us. And we got a seminar. Everyone there definitely got their money's worth. I had a hell of a time.
Shifting gears a little bit before we actually get on to the Imagine show. Braden, how much wrestling do you get to watch of now wrestling? You talked about you watch tapes of Randy Orton and everything, and it could be like prior, but how much like NWA, ROH, New Japan, I don't need to name them all off. You're a wrestling fan and you're a wrestler. Are you still grasping stuff at from companies today?
Yeah, I watch AEW weekly. It's probably my favorite wrestling right now. It's not always the best in my eyes, but it's probably my favorite on TV at the moment. I watch WWE as much as I can. Sometimes I don't get the chance to, but I do go back and I try to rewatch it. NWA Power, I've seen a few things. I don't get to watch it a whole lot. Ring of Honor, I watch that late at night. I love watching their stuff with like Bandito and everything.
Yes.
Impact, I don't get to watch a whole lot of it. I catch up on the highlights just to try and stay updated with it. And then when I have downtime, I try to go back and just watch tape, or like when I'm doing cardio at the gym, I log into the network and I try and watch tape. Benoit, Bryan, AJ, like I said before, Kurt Angle, sometimes Randy Orton,
all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. As I kind of told you and ruined the surprise a little bit. The other guys aren't here tonight, but whatever. But they did pull some questions out of our stupid deck. That's what I should call it. Not really silly anymore, because some of these questions are unbelievably stupid this week. But this is what they pulled out for you. You ready for these 5 questions?
Let's hear it, buddy.
All right. Number 1. When were your parents most disappointed in you?
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, being that I'm only 18, I haven't given them too many opportunities. If you ask them, that'd probably be a different answer. But I'd have to say probably just stupid things as like a kid getting into trouble in school.
Yeah,
I haven't really disappointed them a whole lot yet.
You haven't done anything bad yet. Don't put the yet there. You're not going to disappoint them. You're going to give them an early...
Yeah, I'm sure they'll listen to this, so I probably shouldn't say yet. I won't disappoint them.
Right.
I'll try not to.
You're going to give them an early retirement, hopefully, is what we're all banking on here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to do my best.
What's your favorite gadget? Have it be your iPhone or, your Samsung phone, your whatever. Are you a video game nerd? We can wrap all that up into that question.
I used to play a lot of video games. I used to play Madden a lot, GTA. I used to love playing PS4. In the past 2 years with training and everything, when I really started to dive deep into being the best at wrestling, I don't have the time to do that anymore. I'd say probably like my favorite gadget right now is probably my phone because I'm just on it every day. I can watch TV and everything, but I can watch wrestling on my phone. I can sit and just read things about wrestling on my phone. I have the world in my hands with it pretty much all the time. Yeah. I can cut promos with it,
Yeah, it's unbelievable what a phone can do. My 18 from your 18 is a hell of a lot different. My 18-year-old phone
and that's what I hear from everyone.
I was carrying my phone around in a bag. So, yeah, your phone is a hell of a lot better.
Yeah.
Besides wrestling, all right, so take wrestling out. Which talent would you like to have the most? A singer, a dancer, or I don't know. What else would you like to do besides being kick-ass at wrestling?
If I could have one other talent, I don't know. I'd probably have to say some sort of musical talent because growing up, I always, pictured myself as being like a wrestler or something, being a superstar. And if I wasn't going to be a wrestler, and I'd have to go with another route of a talent, I'd probably have to say like being like a rock star almost.
So you want to be Elias now, all of a sudden? You want to be Elias?
Nah, if I'm making the money that he is.
Right, yeah. This is the stupidest question that we have in the deck, and it makes its way out every once in a while. If you were a sandwich, what would be on it, and what would your name be called? These are stupid questions, I told you.
Well, I honestly am not sure.
Bacon has to be something.
Oh, absolutely. I love bacon. I'd probably just have to say just like a variety of meats.
Yeah.
Probably just like your generic whole white bread, just meat on the sandwich, maybe a little cheese.
All right. That's good.
I'm not really sure what that would be called, but
it would be called the Braden Elliott. Exactly what it would be called.
The Professional, yes.
The Professional, even better, yeah. The Professional. And besides, because we'll get into the wrestling one later, besides a wrestler, which living person do you admire the most?
I would probably have to say, it's not just one. I'd probably have to say my parents.
Good call. You're only 18. Good call.
Right. Yeah, I'd probably have to say my parents. Just what they've done for me is unbelievable. As far as not just wrestling, but life in general. Yeah, I look up to them more than probably anyone. It's like the one thing that's more important than wrestling to me is probably family.
Nice. I knew I liked you a little bit more for some reason, and that family comment wins over this 43-year-old's heart. You're a good kid.
Thank you.
All right, let's get back on to Imagine, throw those questions away, and maybe edit it out of the whole damn interview because some of those were stupid. But no, this Saturday, July 18th, at the Juniata Civic Association, it'll be Imagine, and the big draw, the big thing about this is we're having a tag team title tournament, and you're thrown into it, and you're facing off with probably your pestiest opponents, the Neighborhood. You get the Neighborhood on one half of the bracket, the other half of the bracket's got the Neighborhood, and you're thrown against them. They've been a thorn in your side. So let's talk about this match real quick.
Yeah. Well, the Neighborhood is it's definitely an opponent that a few opponents that I knew I would see a lot going further with Imagine. And when I seen the tag title tournament, I knew that they were going to be a part of it in more than one way, which we've seen.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm very confident, though, that me and my partner, I guess the alpha male, Rick Matthews, I'm very confident that we can get the job done, I guess. The crowd will definitely be in our favor. The Neighborhood is probably my favorite opponents, just because there's so many different styles that I could work with them. There's always a difference maker. But with this going forward, I guess I'll be seeing a lot more of them. I guess there's really nothing left to say but that. Like, I just love to get in the ring with them every time.
That's the other half of the bracket, because there's Neighborhood 1, Neighborhood 2. You have you and the alpha male, and then the other opponents that you could possibly meet, and it would be in the finals, is Beastman and now the Enigma, as the Enigma's filling in for Sean Phoenix. Sean, if you're listening, get well soon, buddy. Huge fan of the show, has been on the show, and a wonderful human being within himself. But you could face two of the biggest men in Imagine, the Beastman and the Enigma. If you roll against them in the finals, what's going to happen?
I'll take on the Enigma. That's what's going to happen. I'll let Alpha Male deal with Beastman. That's not going to be my problem. I'll just say that.
Yeah, good call. See, you're a genius as well. You already know who to go after right off the bat. He's a large human being. He really is.
No, very large. Probably doubles or triples me. So.
If not more. If not more.
Yeah.
So there's a chance that you could face both parts of the Neighborhood, and have you thought about that? I mean, you touched on it, but have you thought about that? You could possibly have to run through the Neighborhood wholly in this tournament, and just fuel to the fire, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. I'll tell you what. I'd love to go through the whole Neighborhood and the whole tournament just to shut them up. Give the fans something that they want. For me and Alpha to go out there and beat them with one clean sweep all in one night.
Yeah, that would be great.
Show them. Absolutely.
And in winning the Imagine Tag Team Championships, what would that be? Where would that rank kind of in your life already? It's a big to-do. It really is. By the way, the titles look ungodly beautiful. You guys... I'm going to throw this out here, and I might get slack from some of the other organizations that I cover, and OVW and IWC and everything, but damn, those blue titles. The one that Spencer Slade had is gorgeous, and now these tag titles are unbelievable. They just pop so much. They're awesome.
The belts that we have here, I would firmly say that they are better than every independent promotion across Pennsylvania. And I mean, as far as independents, I haven't seen any belts that look prettier than those.
They look better than a lot of WWE belts, too. Let me just throw that out there. And I don't care if I get slack for that because they're not paying my toll. But, yeah.
I agree.
So winning those, all right, you win those Saturday night. What are you going to do? What are you going to do first with these titles?
I'm going to probably post it everywhere. I haven't really put much thought into it. I would probably have to say that me and Alpha would be willing to defend them against anyone that came across us. And we're not going to back down from any challenge. So whether that be Beastman, we'll take on the challenge. I'm not sure what my initial thought would be after winning them, except holy crap, I just did it. I did something in pro wrestling. It goes along with the dream, and I'd just be living it a whole hell of a lot more.
Dad moment here. Are you taking a picture, the title, with Mom and Dad?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Whether that would be, whether that I would have a choice or not, I guarantee you, I probably wouldn't have the belt for 5 minutes before they would have me take a picture with them.
Mom would be strutting around Juniata Civic Association Center with the title. Hey, look at what my boy did.
And she might be crying. We don't know.
Right. All right. Wrestling is anything can be written, anything's good to go. So we just wrote that you're winning the tag team titles on Saturday. Let's advance 5 years. Where's the professional in 5 years? Where's Braden Elliott? What are your goals for the next 5 years only?
Well, just like everyone else, the goal is to be in WWE. That was my goal my whole life, and that's still a goal. I'd love to be in the WWE. I'd love to be in any other major company, but my big thing is I just want to make a living at this. I have not wanted to do anything else with my life besides pro wrestling for as long as I can remember. As long as I can make a living at this and, support myself financially and maybe a family of my own one day with wrestling, I would be happy no matter where I go.
Nice. Would you ever want to goals for travel? Let me put it this way, kind of reword myself. Goals for travel. Do you want to make it to Japan, England, go to do some Mexico sometime?
Yeah, well, I want to wrestle in as many states as I can. But my big thing here is, as far as goals and traveling, I want to wrestle in 5 different countries. I've already wrestled in America, of course.
Good job.
I want to wrestle in Canada. I want to wrestle in Mexico, Japan, and England.
I was right. Yeah, I got that. I'm getting this down pat. After 3 years of having this podcast, I know where you guys want to go now. Yeah. Some say Australia, though. Some say Australia yet. And that one always, blows my mind because we see a lot of Australian wrestlers kind of, their main goal is to get the United States. I
wouldn't be opposed to going any European country. I've seen there's actually independent wrestling, good independent wrestling in New Zealand. I'd love to wrestle in New Zealand. Even in Ireland, anywhere in the world, I'll go and wrestle. Those were just my top 5 that I'd like to wrestle in.
I like how you said good independent wrestling because that's true. There's independent wrestling everywhere in the world. Everybody's got independent wrestling nowadays, and let's bring the wall down for a minute, right? Everybody can have a pop-up show, but if it's not good, what is twofold: the wrestlers and the talent, the talent and the fans getting out of it?
Absolutely nothing. I mean, if you're going out there and you're just having your average backyard independent show, and there's really no payoff to it. The fans are just gonna, if it's their first look at independent wrestling, they're gonna say, well, this is garbage. Why would I ever go see another show? So they're gonna ruin it for any fan. You know, the wrestlers on that show, they're gonna get looked at as those guys who are on those shows.
Yep.
Where I've always looked at myself as like, okay, well, I want to wrestle in the top promotions. I'm not going to go wrestle for just any other, you know, shindy company.
Right.
Shitty indie.
Shitty indie. And you shouldn't. You shouldn't. You did wrestle for one other big-time corporation at the Jaffa Mosque. We saw you down there as well for big-time wrestling. Different atmosphere. Yeah. How was that?
Well, I was very nervous because that was only my second match. And I knew there was probably going to be double, maybe triple the people that were at the Imagine show. And I knew my partner, the Patriot, that night, he was nervous for me just because he saw how nervous that I was once I looked out the curtain when the show started and I seen how many people were out there. And I was like, oh, my God, like, I never imagined wrestling in front of this many people, and especially not in my second night.
Right. Butterflies.
Oh, my God. It was unbelievable. I thought I had butterflies my first night when I debuted for Imagine. But the Jaffa, I definitely had some pretty bad butterflies. I had a standing ovation at Imagine, but afterwards at the Jaffa, the Patriot cut a promo on me as well. And everyone in the building was clapping for me again, and I was like, wow. Like, first time out, I didn't expect to get a standing ovation, and especially not the second time in front of probably 800 to 1,000 people.
Yeah, all of, yeah. I'm thinking more 1,200, 1,500 there. It was crowded there that day. It was packed. Twofold question here. What did you take out of wrestling at the Jaffa Mosque? And this is a silly, easy question, do you know the history that the Jaffa Mosque has had? That you've been in the same arena that legends, and I mean legends, have been there.
Yes. Well, I remember walking into the Jaffa that day, and, you know, with my bag, I walked down and I set it in the locker room, and my first thought was, I heard Andre the Giant wrestled here. I wonder if this was his locker room.
Yeah.
You know, I could not believe, like, it hadn't hit me like, oh my God, I'm about to wrestle in one of the same buildings that guys like Andre the Giant wrestled in, Dominic DeNucci, Bruno, and I'm pretty sure Hulk Hogan wrestled there once or twice.
Hogan, Flair, yeah. Yeah.
And I remember standing behind the curtain and, you know, just being with guys that were, and you know, that have been there, like Kane and Bubba Ray Dudley. You know, I was just amazed. I mean, I was out there for my second time ever, and I was just like, well, holy shit. Like, it's kind of come, not completely full circle, but, you know, I'm getting to live my dream.
At that point, you answered it already with that last sentence that you said, but at that point, did you know, damn, I'm there. I know, because, you know, if you're listening in California, you don't know the Jaffa Mosque in, you know, Altoona, Pennsylvania, sorry. But people in our area know that this has been a mecca for wrestling in central PA. You know, there was wrestling at the Jaffa Mosque prior to the Igloo, when the Igloo was around in Pittsburgh, or now PPG Arenas. This was where they came, because it was that straight shot to Allentown or whatever when they were doing their tapings. There was huge shows here. So, second match.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it's a huge building. Back in, like, when wrestling was, like, in the 70s, 80s, a lot of guys came out there to wrestle, and it's just, you know, it's amazing for me to be able to go out there and put my name out there in a building where I mean, countless legends have wrestled in front of probably thousands of people. I couldn't have been happier with that night and with that experience.
You brought up butterflies. You've been in the ring a few times now, several times, however you want to say it. Every night you still get some though. You know, just wanting to make sure you do everything right, and you. The best wording I thought of right now is kind of cater to the crowd, right?
Yes, and I always get those butterflies, whether it's just a match at the Imagine Dojo or in any building on a live show. And the advice that was given to me when I started training when I was 15, 16, was when those butterflies go away, that's time to stop wrestling. And I mean, I'm glad to get them every time, and I will hopefully continue to get them, because when I don't, it's time to quit.
That's a great transition into my next question. You have somebody 13, 14 now coming up to you, wanting to run the same way that you ran. What advice do you give somebody wanting to get into wrestling right now?
My advice would be, don't just run and do the first thing. I went to the very first school that I found, and I wish I would have waited and gone to Cato completely and just learned everything under one trainer. Don't just go and get trained by Joe Schmo. Get trained by somebody who knows what they're doing. Go to any reputable wrestling school. I'm not just trying to say Imagine because I'm a trainee there, but, we've had guys there that, they say we know what we're doing. Cato's the best around here, at least. IWC, they're good as well. And I'm not trying to say anyone else is bad, but I'm just saying go to the reputable schools. If you want to make it somewhere in this business, go and get trained by somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, do your homework.
Do your homework, yes, absolutely.
Because I can have a wrestling school in my backyard, and as you guys know, I can't train anybody. If you want to learn how to put a podcast together, I'm all right with that. I can't train you to wrestle, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All
and
right.
Dear God, please do not look up how to become a wrestler on YouTube. There's videos of it on there, but please do not be that guy. And do not show up at an independent show with boots and gear and say, hey, I'm a wrestler, I'd like to get on the show. Don't be that guy. Go and get trained. Go and learn how to do this correctly. Because if you don't, then you're never going to make it anywhere.
Yeah, I'll say it. Go watch the mass transit incident with New Jack. Enough said.
Absolutely.
All right, a few more questions, then we'll let you go. I'm sure you want to go pump some iron or do something tonight. But we always end with this as a question, and then we'll let you shout out your social media, and we'll talk about some of your merch because, God, I hope I get one Saturday. Your dream match. Okay, there's stipulations here. Who do you want to wrestle? Dead or alive? It's wrestling. We can reverse time. Dead or alive, who do you want to wrestle? Where would it be? Like what event? What city? What, something like that? And what would the stipulation of the match be?
I would probably have to say that I would want to wrestle in, I'm going to say Pittsburgh, in Heinz Field, because I know WrestleManias are in football stadiums.
Right. That's going to be cold, but okay.
I'd love to wrestle in Heinz Field. And I would probably have to say the match, I'd want to wrestle a 60-minute Iron Man match with, I'd have to say AJ Styles.
That's beautiful. That sounds stupid the way that I said it like that, but that would be an amazing match. An Iron Man match between you and AJ would tear down the house, or stadium, I guess.
I am not on any level like AJ Styles, but I mean, that's the best in the game, and that's, you know, I would strive to be just as good as AJ one day, and if we could showcase that somewhere in that capacity, I would love that, especially under that stipulation.
Heinz Field. I'm all right with it because I love Pittsburgh. I'm a Steeler fan. Why Heinz Field? Just because to give Pittsburgh its due props of getting a WrestleMania?
Yeah, probably that. That, and it's in Pennsylvania, my home state. There's not a football field in Altoona. That's probably the closest one, like a stadium.
Beaver Stadium. We can pack more. Yeah.
You know what? That would be great. Beaver Stadium. I mean, I've been a Pittsburgh fan my whole life. I'm sure that came off as, you know, my gear is black and gold.
Couldn't tell.
Yeah. So, I mean, that would just, that would mean a lot to me, probably in Pittsburgh and in Heinz Field.
Nice. All right, this is your time now, Braden. This is your time. Spew off your social media to everybody, and then sell some merch. And man, tell us about those wrestling buddies.
All right. Yeah, well, you can find me on Facebook at Braden Elliott, Braden Elliott, ELLIOTT, 2 T's there. Everyone does it with just one. On Instagram, you can find me at _Braden_Elliott. And yes, my merch, I have hoodies, tank tops, T-shirts, wristbands, pictures, and of course, everyone's favorite, the Wrestling Buddies. I have those on sale. They're limited edition. I'm saying that now. Get them while they last. I will have probably a second set made, but it will not be the same. These are going to look like this just for a little bit. I'm going to have a second set of Wrestling Buddies made, but they will be under a different design.
So we're getting a new series already. Yes!
Yes, that's already in the works. The design, I've already had it, you know, being talked about. I haven't gone through the process of them being stitched together yet, but the Wrestling Buddies, I have some now left. Get them at the Imagine show on Saturday.
Yeah.
They may sell out. I don't know.
I hope they do. I really hope they do. Guys, it's July 18th, this Saturday, Altoona, Pennsylvania, Juniata Civic Association Center, however we want to say it. Imagine Wrestling. Man, this card's stacked. You're going to find out new tag team champions. You have Can Crusher alum Spencer Slade on the show. It's unbelievable. If you can make it to Altoona, and we'll stop there for a minute, all COVID restrictions apply, guys. It's going to be half a crowd. Yes, you have to wear masks. Yes, you have to do the 6-foot social distancing. But for the 2.5 to 3 hours or however the hell long these guys are going to tear down that house, you can forget about that and know that you're safe with the Imagine family, right?
Absolutely. And I'm going to say that we have to cap it at 125. So get tickets now, pre-sale. They're almost out. I'd get them now if you can. Contact the Imagine Wrestling page on Facebook. And make sure you get tickets.
Yeah,
because we're going to tear down the house. I promise you.
Prior to recording, guys, I looked real quick. I think they were like 40 tickets left. So if you're getting tickets, get your ass in gear and get tickets.
Absolutely.
Braden, all right, I'll let you go for the night. Now I will make sure I stop over Saturday and make sure we do our pleasantries. All right, buddy?
All right, sounds good.
All right.
I appreciate you having me on the show.
No problem. See you Saturday.
See you Saturday.
Braden Elliott, the professional, and one hell of a nice kid. I can call him a kid. He's 18. He's a hell of a lot younger than I am. But, again, guys, I can't stress to keep watching this guy. He's going to take wrestling by storm. If I'm wrong, I'll eat a pile of crow on air, on YouTube. This kid is going to go places, I'm telling you. With what he has in his corner, he's a friend of Manny Fernandez. He knows Bob Backlund. That's cool. That's cool that you have all those friends. But it's what you do in the ring. And come Saturday, he's going to show you what the hell he can do in the ring. If you've never gone to Imagine, hurry up and buy some of those tickets that are left. Head over to Imagine Wrestling on Facebook and get your tickets. And again, you'll see not only what Braden can do in Imagine, but there's all these other guys. We've heard from Spencer Slade before. Bill Collier's going to be there. You have the Neighborhood. You have Beastman. I mean, we can. But this is about Braden. This is about Braden Elliott, and he will bring the house down. He is a cornerstone to Imagine. I am saying this, and I will completely stand behind it 100%. He is a cornerstone to Imagine Wrestling. Win the tag team championships or not, to have a battle down the road for them. It's always great to see an underdog keep attacking, keep attacking. We know all the wrestling storylines, guys, but watch what he can do in the ring. Unbelievable. Again, Braden, I want to say thanks for stopping by Can Crushers, and as we talked off air a little bit afterwards, yes, we will continue to follow you. We'll continue to shoot you a message. Hey, come on, tell us what's up, what's going on. So this Saturday, Juniata Civic Center Association in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Get your tickets. Tickets are sparse right now, so hurry up and get your ass in gear. Guys, thanks once again for listening to Can Crushers Wrestling Spotlight. Again, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Boxcat. Anywhere you can find podcasts, you'll find us. We would love if you'd go to Apple and iTunes and give us a review. It helps us out, pushes us up that level a little bit more. We're getting there. We're getting there, and I want to thank everyone that has been doing that. If this is your first episode, please run over, subscribe, tell us how much you hate me or how much you love me. That's fine. Don't forget to listen on Sunday when we do our weekly wrap-up. 9 out of 10. This show that we're talking about in Imagine will be involved in the recap, barring anything going on with COVID. Guys, it is Tuesday night when I'm recording this. Talked to Braden last night. So we always break down the walls. Barring when everything happens, the COVID could make a little switch in everything. But nonetheless, we're going with Saturday. Wrestling's going to happen. We're ready for wrestling to be back. So, all right, guys. We'll see you Sunday with the recap and all the recap of wrestling as well. So remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.